Hey, everybody, welcome back to the group coaching experience. I have my friend Cindy Shelson helping me today with the training that I wanted to make part of this event. And Cindy, you've heard from Cindy earlier in this event. She was speaking on signature programs. So welcome back, Cindy.
Hi, Milana. Thanks for having me.
And Cindy is the founder of Marketing from Within. She's been a good friend of mine. She's my go-to expert for a lot of brainstorming and masterminding around marketing, messaging, decision-making on a lot of different things in my business. So I am just so honored to have you interview me today on this topic that we're speaking on.
Yeah, we're going to have fun.
Yes, and just as a reminder, my name is Milana Lishinsky. I'm your host, and Group Coaching Experience is brought to you by Coaching Genie, which is an all-in-one system that allows you to deliver transformational group coaching programs. And we're actually talking about the pricing today. So how much do you charge for your group coaching program? How do you know? That's the question that everybody wants to know about group coaching programs. So that's what we'll talk about today. And Cindy, I will let you kind of take over from here and we'll have a discussion. We have a tool to share with people that they can use to determine their group coaching pricing. So take it away.
Awesome. Yeah. And I know that whenever I'm working with my clients on creating their group coaching programs, this is always one of the biggest questions that comes up is how do you choose the price point? So let's kind of take a step back before we get into the how to, and let's talk about why it's so important to have the right pricing for your group coaching program.
Yeah, I think it's been a challenge for a lot of people. Some people will just pull a number out of thin air and hoping that that's what it is. And I've seen pricing like, I'm going to charge $243. Well, why? I don't know. It just feels good. I've had those kind of answers. I don't know if you had similar experiences with your clients, Cindy, but I think it's important to come from a place of understanding what your price point is going to do for you. So you want to make sure your program is profitable, that it's worth your time. And you also want to make sure that the return on investment is good for you because you're creating the program, you're running the program, you're spending time. And so you want to make sure that it's worth your time, energy, and focus, right? But the other part of choosing the right price point is, will people say yes to that price point? You may want to charge $5,000, but if people don't see that it's worth that much, then it's going to be harder for you to enroll clients. So to come up with an optimal price point is important for the reasons of enrollment.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to share that price with confidence, right?
Yes.
Really
when
important.
You say it, you want to feel fully aligned. I know we had Jennifer Deep Stratton talk about, pricing, selling with confidence and pricing your program with confidence. And, she talked about programs like $10,000, $25,000, $50,000, and that's great. But if you can't say it, if you can't see yourself accepting that amount of money, you may not be able to get that. And it'll definitely make your enrollment process more challenging. So
and I appreciate you saying that because there's so much talk in the industry about like, oh, charge as much as you can get. And, first of all, price isn't forever. You can raise your prices over time.
yes.
So I love that you said that, you've got to feel really confident in it, but it also has to reflect the value that your program delivers. So It's this balance. So when you're thinking of, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that imagine not mispricing your program. What are the consequences of not pricing it well? You're probably going to struggle with enrollment. You might feel some type of resentment as you're running your program, right? I've been there. We're like, oh man, I should have charged more. I'm not feeling like I am, like it's worth my time. There's also, if you have filled your program with the help of affiliate partners or joint venture partners, that's something that, one of the factors, we'll get into the factors that influence, but you don't want to feel resentment around your program, especially if it's a group coaching program. You want to come with the energy of excitement, confidence, you're ready to help these people, you love your group, and how much you are pricing it plays a big role, right?
Absolutely. So let's break that down a little bit. You started talking about some of the factors that you should consider when deciding how to price your group coaching program. So do you want to kind of go through some of those factors?
Yeah, so definitely if you are using affiliate partners and you have to pay them commissions, this is definitely something that goes into the pricing of your program, because I used to sell a program of $2,000 and I would pay 30% commission to my partners. And I also had a business partner at the time. Then we would split the remainder between the two of us. And so I felt, you know, occasionally I would feel like I'm not happy with the pricing that we're getting. And it's a lot for people to pay $2,000. And yet I'm only getting whatever, like $800 left
Yeah.
for the entire program, which was pretty significantly constructed out of many different pieces, components, and time investments. So that's something that I learned early on. You know, if you're using affiliate partners and you're paying commissions, start thinking about your pricing after you pay out your partners. But there's also some things that you want to think about, like the size of your group. How many people do you want in your group? Are you seeing a group of 8 people and you're going to cap it there? Or are you thinking more like a training / coaching program, maybe with 50 to 100 people, right? Different type of group coaching, but now you can feel like, okay, well, I want 100 people. What does that mean? Does that mean I can charge less money and kind of sell it to more people, right? The other factor is how many times you want to run your program. If this is a once a year enrollment period that you have, like you fill your program in January, you run it through December, next January you fill it again, then that's one price point. But if you are running it multiple times, maybe it's a 4-month program and you fill it 3 times a year or 2 times a year, then again, that will impact your price point. The other part of it is how much time you're investing into running it. Now, I don't recommend that you sit down and count, okay, the program is 8 calls, and this is how much I want to make per hour. This is how much I would make per hour coaching people one-on-one. So I'm going to multiply it by 8, and this is how much I should charge. I'm not suggesting that you count sessions, because it's also your time and energy and effort that you're putting into it, right? So you want to think about the investment of yourself, your time, your focus, your energy. And then one of the things I also recommend thinking about is, where is your program located in your funnel or product suite? Is this the introductory program and therefore you can charge less and then upsell a bigger program later? Or is this your big program? And that's where people will end up, because that's how you want it. Everybody goes into your program the way that you run your business. Is there something that you're going to upsell after your program, or is this the final destination, so to speak, right? So those kind of things you just want to think through. And I'll turn it back to you, Cindy. What are some of the factors that you're thinking of as I'm talking?
Yeah, let me first recap what you said, because let's just sort of unpack that for just a second. So we talked about your time that you're investing, not just the hours coaching. And I'd also add to that, not just your time in delivering the program, but in creating the program, and also all the knowledge and experience that you bring into that. So you might have 10, 20 years experience doing something and now can shorten the learning curve for somebody by 10 years. Like that's huge. So to think about your time and experience in it. And also you talked about some of the more practical things about affiliate partners, about how many times you're going to run the program. If this is your entry-level program, what's your next step offer, etc., and the number of people you want in the group. So those are all really good considerations. And then the other thing I just wanted to add to it is that your price isn't forever. If you're creating like a pilot program, you want to create an amazing transformation for people. And I tend to add more support in the pilot to help people over the humps and have a proven program. And then you can always increase the price. So it's not set in stone. It's not forever.
Right.
Like nothing is in business, is it? So yeah, I think those are great points to
Do
consider.
you think, and I'm just asking, I'm checking in with you, do you feel like people can start with a higher price point and then drop the price? Or is it easier to first start lower and then up their price?
It really depends. You know, for my signature program that I have run for a few years now, I actually had it higher at first. But the reason I lowered it is because I took some content out of the program, because I was realizing that, like I was teaching in the signature program training, that sometimes it's better to have a shorter bite for your signature program and then leading to a longer next step program. So I've done it that way. But in general, I think most people prefer to start lower, prove the results, get great testimonials, you know, refine the program, and then raise the price.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the things that I find that makes a huge difference in the price point is the addition of a live or a virtual event. So here's the 8-week program, but there's also the event, or here's the 1-year program, but there's also like 2 retreats. And, you know, those events or retreats, whether they're live or virtual, they immediately add a huge perceived value. And so you may be running your program for 90 days, 3-month program. And if you wanted to increase the price point, but you can't really maybe justify it, adding a live event or a virtual event, like a 1-day or 2-day something. I've seen people add a half-day event. It just immediately gives you that justification, internal and also for marketing purposes, to say, you know what, I think I'm going to double the price. And that's how I see people going from $9.97 to $19.97, because there's an event now and there's more hands-on stuff, more access to you and so on. So I feel like an event is a really cool way to up your price. That's been my experience.
No, I agree. And another cool way that you could do it is with like a done for you type of service that you can add on. So, you know, sometimes I'll have like a done for you client journey infographic as like a fast action bonus, you know, so it adds the value, but it also can inspire people to take action. So play with those, you know, value adds and see which ones you want to include in the program and which ones you want to use as bonuses too. So yeah, a lot to think about. Let's talk about some examples. I always like, it's always easier to understand when we can like really see a clear example. So do you want to walk us through one?
Yes.
Milana?
So I always love tools. And so I was trying to come up with as close to scientific way as possible to price your program. So I came up with a group coaching calculator. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to give you the address, the URL of the this calculator under the video. So it's free. You can go to it anytime. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to play around, Cindy, right?
I love it. I have to tell you, in full disclosure, I've given my clients your calculator, with your permission, of course, for my program, because it's so brilliant the way you've created this.
Oh, thank you.
You are a software genius, woman.
Well, I needed to have a way to really figure this out without guesswork, and to come up with the price point with clarity and confidence, and like, this is what I want. What this is the URL is coachingcalc.com. So you can jot that down, or you can click the link below. And what this is based on is the ultimate amount of money that you want to make. And I'll tell you why this happened. So I was at a retreat many years ago with my coach, and he asked me to say, how much money do you want to make this year? And I said, well, I want to make $250,000 by launching this particular program and maybe this other program. And then I wrote out, okay, how many clients I want, how many times I'm going to launch it. And I came up short. I only had $150,000. So I was nowhere near my goal. And so this really helps you see the reality of what you're planning to charge and then adjust different numbers. So let's play. I'm going to kind of use my program as an example. So how many times a year do I want to offer this program? I usually like to run my program twice. I'm going to put 2. How much do you charge per client? Typically I charge $9.97. This is kind of my go-to price point. It's been working very well for me online. How many clients do you want in each group? So I like bigger groups. And so my pricing reflects it, because if I were to put a higher price, then I would probably say, I think 8 people is okay. So I'm going to put 20 people. Okay. And we can already immediately see that revenue per group is $19,940. And then because I'm running it twice, it's almost $40,000. Am I happy with this number? I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't be happy. Like I would want to see if this is the only income stream of this one program, I probably wouldn't be happy. So let me complete this little formula, this calculator, and see, I'll come back and change some numbers. So the next question you want to ask yourself is, how many total hours will you spend coaching your group? So these are your live group coaching calls, right? So if this is typically my programs are 6 to 8 weeks, let's say it's an 8-week program. Sometimes I run late, so I'm going to say 10 hours. Okay?
And just to clarify for people watching, this is the time in the group format, not any other time, just in the group coaching calls, right? For that.
Exactly. These are just the group coaching calls, because then there is the last question you want to ask yourself is, how many total hours do you expect to spend supporting your group? So anything else you do for your clients, like answering emails, running your Facebook group, if you have office hours, if you offer private coaching, for me, it's usually minimal amounts. So I will put in for 8 weeks, I'll probably say 4 hours. Okay. Look at the numbers. So we're still at almost $40,000 revenue per year from this program. But I really love the revenue per hour. That's really attractive. I mean, that's the beauty of group coaching, right? So considering that I'm not happy with the $39,000, it's very low coaching income, I would want to change something. So a couple of things. First of all, I could keep in mind that this is my introductory program, and I still have maybe a $2,500 program to add as an upsell, right? So I have an upsell. So that makes me feel better. I'll make more on the back end. So I could play with the same calculator using a different numbers for that next program. But let's see how it changes if we'll say, okay, how about I run it maybe 3 times a year with the break in the summer, right? Because it's only 8 weeks. I'm still going to charge $9.97. I'm going to set my goal to 25.
There you go. You bumped that
and
up.
So
yeah,
the numbers immediately go up.
Right? I love it. What if you played with it, Mirlanda? What if you charged $14.97?
I could certainly increase the price of the group, and now we're in 6 figures. Look at that.
Yeah.
And all it takes is just a little bit of tweaking. Now, you may not want to run your program 3 times a year. Personally, I prefer not to. It's a little bit too, because I launched my program, so I need like a nice 3-week period to launch my program. And so that adds just more time, more effort for me. So I'm going to bring it down to 2, but I'm still much happier with $74,000 than when I saw only 39, right? So this immediately doubles the income by increasing the price point and adding 5 more people as my goal. Then it really changes.
You know, it would be cool to add in, I'm just brainstorming with you here, when you refine your calculator, is something around affiliate commission. Like of those 25 people, what percentage typically are going to be affiliates, and then how much revenue do you need to pay out in commission? The other thing that I'm thinking, like, there's your hours, but what about your expenses? So I'm just playing with you here. I know the calculator doesn't show that, but I wonder if there's some way to build that in.
Well, you're talking about expenses, or
my
daughter is studying bookkeeping right now, so I learned about cost of goods sold.
Yeah.
Right. So expenses, those are commissions and any expenses that you
Yeah.
need to run the program, right? All of that. This is just the revenue.
This
like
is just the revenue.
just
Yeah.
the revenue, because
But I do think
expenses
it's smart for people, like once you get
to
this
think
number, and
about
this
it.
is brilliant, is to then think about what's the profit,
Right, right.
you know, to think about what's your profit. You have to pay an assistant, you have to pay for software, you have to pay commissions or whatever other
Yeah,
costs you have, and just factor that in, because that might increase your price point.
exactly.
You know,
But then you also
yeah.
have to think, will people be willing to pay $14.97 for my program, right? So that's, I think, will I be able to get 25 people? I can
Yeah.
guarantee you that people watching us right now thinking, well, I don't know if I can get 25 people in my group. So what I would be doing is I would be saying, okay, realistically, I think I can only get maybe 12. And that brings me down to 35. It's a little bit of like a de-escalating my excitement. And 12 people, I think I can get them at $14.97. But I also have private coaching, right? So maybe out of these 12 people, 3 clients will hire me as a private coach. And there's another revenue stream. So this is something for you to play with and to start thinking about. It's super simplistic way of looking at your numbers, but I don't think people even do that. Like this.
Yeah. No, I love that. And what would be cool for people to do is do this calculation, but then think about, okay, if I have a next step program, maybe 50% of the people or 40% or whatever are going to come into my next step program. What am I going to charge for that? How many people, how much time, etc. And now you can look at it and say, okay, I'm earning this amount for this program, but really I got to add in the next step program too, to really look at the total revenue that program helps generate.
Well, let's do that right now. So Cindy, just make a mental bookmark. By the way, Cindy, you're a perfect person for this training. You had your math major. I felt like there's nobody better for me to play with numbers than you. So thank you for that. So just hold this number in your head.
Okay. I'm going to round it to $36,000.
Okay. Perfect. Let's now decide that after the program is complete, you're going to upsell a higher level program. So out of those 12 people, you want some of them to go into a higher level program, which you only offer maybe once. Okay. Just one time. And you're going to charge, let's say, $5,000. That's a higher level access to you, more private coaching. And let's say that out of the 12 people, you'll probably get 3, except you're running the program twice. So that's actually 6. Okay. How many hours will you spend? Probably more. I would guess that for your group coaching program, that's $5,000. You'll probably, maybe it's 24
twice a month,
24, right?
Yeah.
And maybe additional 5 hours. I mean, we're still getting a really nice revenue per hour. So you're getting an additional $30,000 plus the number you keep it in your head.
So 66,000. And that's really conservative too, because in the sense, only running it, so you and I are different. Like, you like the big launches, I don't, right? So you do the bigger launches with more people, and I tend to launch more often with smaller groups because I like more intimate. I like smaller intimate groups. So you got to play with that too and think about, like, what kind of groups do you like to run? I always include some private coaching in my groups. Like, you've got to think about what works for you too, and not just the numbers, but like, how do you want to run your group? What kind of group do you like to run?
Absolutely.
So I love that you're like, I like big groups. And I love launching. I'm going to do it twice a year. So tune into what you want your group to look
And we've had multiple models introduced to this event. So this is just a tool for you to say, okay, this is what I want my group coaching business to look like. Maybe it's just a once a year program, but it's a $15,000 program and it's an inner circle. I mean, hey, I'm liking these numbers, right? How many clients do you want in each group? Well, I'm going to get some of my clients from the smaller groups, but I'm also going to continue to market it in other ways, like
Yeah.
through speaking, through events, through networking. So maybe I'll actually get 25 people in my group. Now we're getting to $500,000. That
Yeah.
is super exciting, right? So some people will just get bigger numbers because they do things differently, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Thank you for playing with me in the
It was fun.
calculator. We'll give people a link to jump into the calculator. But yeah, I think that with the help of this tool, you can see kind of like, I'm happy with this number. I'm on board. Or no, I don't think it's even worth creating the program.
Yeah.
I might as well not do it because it's just not worth it. It's so low and I want to do something else. So it really gives you a real picture of what you're getting yourself into and
Yeah.
how you need to adjust numbers. And by the way, if you're looking at these numbers and thinking, I wish I could charge $2,000, but I just can't. I can't imagine myself asking for that much money. That's where, you know, some mindset work needs to happen, some in communicating the value of your program needs
Absolutely.
to change, right? And of course, there's always tapping. As somebody,
I was going to say, I was wondering.
I can charge more money. I deserve more money. All this tapping, right? So those of you who are interested, definitely reach out to me. I love tapping on these kind of things. More the woo-woo side of Milana.
Yeah.
So,
And, you know, and it's not just about like, you know, oh, you got to have the perfect marketing for it. It's really, to me, about really understanding the unique value that you're bringing and knowing how to communicate it. So just, you know, it doesn't have to be slimy, it doesn't have to be hypey. It's just really owning the value. And once you can break down the journey you're going to take with your clients, show them the transformation they're going to get, I think it's so much easier to own that value. So, you know, there's a lot of gold and clarity when you can do that.
Any final words you would say about pricing or choosing the price point for your group program?
I guess the thing that I always tell my clients is come think about a number that you feel really good with, and then take a little bit of a stretch. So like out of your comfort zone just a little bit, but not so much that you like feel really intimidated sharing it. And then you can always raise your price as you go.
Yeah. Well, and as somebody that's been working with clients through tapping, I can see the fears and anxieties immediately bubble up when I ask a question. Okay, how much do you want to charge for your program? They'll say, you know, $500. And then I say, okay, well, now let's double that, $1,000. And sometimes we'll go into like, how much money do you want to make this year? And they'll say, I'll be happy with 75 grand. And I'll say, well, how about if we double it, 150? And suddenly all of that just like opens up. And so it triggers people into all these fears, worries, sometimes insecurities, negative beliefs about themselves and their business. You know, as people who've been making, you know, high six figures, Cindy, you and I know that it's all right here, and that making $75,000 takes just as much effort as it takes $150,000, right?
Yeah, and it's a journey, and we get into this comparison game, and we worry about what other people are doing and making. And
yes,
I mean, you and I both know people, and that's why I love this calculator, because I've seen people who have 7-figure businesses that are barely profitable. You know, yes. So you know, don't stress about what everybody else is doing. I love, my favorite part of your calculator is the revenue per hour. I love that part, because then I can really see, is this really giving me the value that I bring to the table? Yeah. And I love that part.
Yeah, absolutely. I will consider adding the expenses, because now that you said that, a lot of 7-figure people who run these giant programs with, you know, making a ton of money are not really left with what they would be happy with, but they don't realize it until it's all said and done and the program is filled, and now they're seeing, okay, this is how much I'm actually making and I'm not happy with it. So that can definitely impact your energy level even in running your program. Cindy, thank you so much for helping me discuss the topic of pricing. This was fun, and I hope people got some ideas, and the wheels are starting to turn how much they can charge and what they need to do to be more profitable. So I know we'll see you in one of our panels, unless people have already seen it. We're kind of pre-recording this, but so exciting to share this time with you. And Cindy Shelson, Marketing from Within, Milana Leshinsky, your host of the Group Coaching Experience. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye.